Harry, Taquin de Sol, and last year Bristol de Mai. Number 1 is Politologue for Paul Nicholls, Bundoran for the George Heskin team. It's a Freebie, won the Grade 2 Novices Hurdle on this card last year. 4 is Waiting Patiently, Maximizer for birthday boy Simon West, Solar Tontif for the Allery Connections. Matt, how do they bet?
Well, then it's 5-4 about Politologue, who was 11-8 this morning, has to give £3 or more away to the rivals, and now at 11-8 once again. Politologue, generally speaking, 12-1 this animal for the JLT at the Cheltenham Festival, though as short as 8 with Labrooks and Bet Victor. Waiting Patiently is unbeaten over fences at 3-1. It's a Freebie who, in his time, has beaten a Stayers hurdle winner in Cole Harden at 11-2, Bundoran at 13-2, Solar Tentive in the Allery colours at 12-1, and Maximizer is the Roughie at 20-1.
The Roughie.
He jumped really well when winning last time, and if they let him loose, he'll make them pay.
Politologue has won 2 out of 2 so far. Another horse who's 2 out of 2 over fences is Waiting Patiently for Malcolm Jefferson and Brian Hughes.
Yeah, this horse has really stepped up his game since going chase, and he seems to have found a marked improvement, especially his ratings climbed because he's loving for fences. It's important for Brian Hughes, he gets him into a rhythm. He can jump well, but he can also miss the odd one. If you do that here too often at Haydock, it can cost you.
Okay, I want to talk about Bundoran before the off, because he's trained by Tom George, who could have a good day. He's got some other good runners later on. He was also pretty impressive at Newcastle over fences.
Yeah, he was. The handicapper put him up £8 for that performance at Newcastle. He will handle conditions, and I just love horses who've got previous form here at Haydock. I think that really sets the race up for Politologue, but keep your eyes on It's a Freebie.
Colin Tizard, of course, later on today. It's all about Allery, but he's got Solar Tontif yet to win over fences. I think he might struggle today.
Yeah, this looks to be a pretty hot contest for him, but I think the sort of form Colin Tizard's in, you can't rule any of his out.
The other grey is Maximizer for a birthday boy trainer Simon West, who we spoke to this morning on the opening show, not long before the off. Politologue, big expectations for this grey, trained by Paul Nicholls. Our commentator here at Haydock is Stuart Machin.
In they come. They're off. Starter drops the flag for this Grade 2 prize, and the 6 runners on their way to the first of 15 fences. And Maximizer, one of a brace of greys in the race, the first to show up to It's a Freebie on the near side. And Politologue, the free sweating grey, close up as they rise for the first time. Waiting Patiently out wide in the sheepskin nosebag, just taking a little bit of a grip early on under Brian Hughes. Bundoran check sleeves last but one, and Solar Tontif in rear. And fence 2 is the first of the ditches. All handled it safely enough, and now they run into their first turn. And so Maximizer and John Kington giving a lead to It's a Freebie, and Harry Skelton sitting in second. Politologue, Sam Twiston-Davis and the John Hale Soaps, the yellow jacket in third, a half-length Bundoran. Adrian Heskin and Tom George combine once again, out of luck with Get Rhythm, a first flight faller in the opener. Waiting Patiently, ridden patiently by Brian Hughes, last but one away to the left, and Solar Tontif and Aidan Coleman, red cap in rear, as they face the first of a line of 4 up the straight. So Maximizer approaching the third. Stepped at it, took off too soon. Fence was still coming up when Maximizer was coming down. He kept his feet, and John Kington sat tight. He's still on the sharp end. Politologue joining him on the near side. It's a Freebie out on the right. Then Bundoran, another open ditch. Maximizer much better there. Waiting Patiently on the extreme left, jumping soundly, and a couple of lengths away to a Solar Tontif. Halfway up the straight, first time. Politologue and Maximizer together. It's a Freebie landing in third, tracked by Bundoran towards the far side, and then Waiting Patiently and Solar Tontif, and they close in on fence 6. It's bringing them slowly to the end of the first mile. Politologue, with ears pricked, jumps well. Just half-lengthening Maximizer there. Solar Tontif, a little awkward at the back of the field, 3 or 4 lengths adrift as they head under the judge. And Politologue, defending his unbeaten record over fence, is leading. It's a Freebie poking up on his inner. Maximizer, after that scare early in the straight, has dropped a couple of lengths off him in third as they round the paddock turn. And then Bundoran, Waiting Patiently, and Solar Tontif, and Sam Twiston-Davis aboard Politologue, perhaps just upping the ante a fraction. It allows Politologue to stride on from It's a Freebie. Harry Skelton, the dark jacket, on the near side of Maximizer. waiting patiently. Brian Hughes alongside Bundoran and Adrian Heskin against the rail, and Soletin Teef and Aidan Coleman continue in touch. Last of the 6 strong fielders, they face the first of the fences over in the Haydock back straight. Politologue with It's a Freebie jumping boldly there, jumping up sides. Maximizer was comprehensively outleapt by the leading pair. He's got waiting patiently on his far side, Bundoran on the near side, and then Soletin Teef. They pass through halfway. And again, Maximizer not so good there. Politologue and It's a Freebie moving on towards the middle one in the back straight, heading now for the last mile. This brings them to the end of a circuit. Politologue from It's a Freebie jumping well, not so Bundoran there, who was in tight to it. Maximizer's becoming outpaced, and Soletin Teef has never really threatened to be competitive. Waiting patiently, however, in the sheepskin noseband, is creeping steadily into it as Politologue jumps soundly there. He's got It's a Freebie under a bit of pressure, just being chivied into the bridle. Waiting patiently, moving stealthily up into third alongside Bundoran as they take the penultimate ditch. Good jump from Politologue, saw a good stride, didn't waste any time in the air. It's a Freebie under firmer pressure, trying to hold the inside as they go into the turn. Waiting patiently, though, is just a length away in third. And then Bundoran, and this group of 4 now clear of the other 2. So they begin the swing for home, heading for the last half mile in this Grade 2 contest. Politologue, he's had the rubber things so far. It's a Freebie, had a crack at him in the back straight, but he's been under pressure for a while now, and waiting patiently under Brian Hughes, away to the left, looking threatening, moving into second. Bundoran still has a chance on the far side. The 4th last then coming up to them. Politologue to waiting patiently, 2 unbeaten chasers. Here's the 4th last. Politologue lands a couple clear, waiting patiently. Hughes still sitting quietly. Meanwhile, Maximizer has been pulled up before 4 out. Politologue and waiting patiently make their way down towards the last of the ditches. It's a Freebie 3 lengths away alongside Bundoran. Politologue again, he didn't waste any time in the air. He still had a 2-length advantage, and Hughes now is just a fraction more animated on waiting patiently, coaxing him into the bridle, trying to get him on terms with the grey. Here's the 2nd last. Politologue from waiting patiently, still a couple of lengths between them, and Politologue was the more fluent. Twiston Davis now shakes him up for the first time. Hughes trying to raise another effort out of waiting patiently. Want to jump, waiting patiently, beginning to find his stride now. Comes to Politologue. Here's the last. Waiting patiently jumps on from Politologue. 2 unbeaten novices settle down to fight this out on the run-in. Waiting patiently, drifting off a true line, leaning to the rail. Politologue coming again near the finish. Waiting patiently, driven all out. Hughes inches closer to a century of winners, and waiting patiently remains unbeaten over fences. Looks a smart recruit. He worried Politologue out of it. It's a Freebie back in third, a long way clear of Soletin Teef.
Waiting patiently, ridden patiently by Brian Hughes, has upset the favourite Politologue, and Malcolm Jefferson, Mick, has a star on his hands.
A really likeable performance from this horse, because Politologue down the back, he really set them alight, and you know, he just